Hey guys, it's Dave. So I'm going to go play basketball in about an hour. So I thought I'd throw this video together to talk about a couple things I do for ankle and calf preparation for going and playing rec basketball for 90 minutes. All right. So whether you're going to a beer league softball game, playing sand volleyball, basketball, going to just coach the kids at baseball practice or soccer practice, here are a couple things you want to do, especially coming off of COVID. Number one, if you're over the age of 35 or 40, but coming off of COVID, and if you haven't been running a lot, or if you haven't been playing ball normally, you want to be doing some of these mobility exercises. Orthopedic surgeons are licking their lips right now. They are ready to do some Achilles tendon repair surgeries. Let's stay out of the OR, all right? So a couple things I do. One thing I have on, Kelly Starrett made these popular a while ago, and I still use them every once in a while. When my ankle's kind of barking at me a little bit, and I'm just feeling it throughout the day, I use some voodoo straps. You can get these on Amazon, 20, 30 bucks. So this is one here, if you can see that. It's just, picture like an inner tube of a bike tire. It's just some stretchy rubber that winds up. So about 2-inch diameter, 2-inch width rather. And I have that on my left ankle already. It's been on there for a while. It's cutting off a little circulation, so I'm ready to take it off. But I do some ankle mobility on this, and what it's doing is, I love compression. So think of ice compression elevation, or rice rest or recovery ice compression elevation. For like an ankle sprain, if I sprain my ankle, this is one of the first things I do is I wrap it up. I compress it extra tight. And as I have it wrapped up, what it's doing is, if you're used to rolling or any kind of massage, when you're massaging a calf or any body part, you're going to be compressing the tissues. You're compressing the layer of skin, fascia, muscle, fat, all together, and then you're releasing that compression, right? So it's just, if I'm gonna massage my calf, I can press in the muscles and then release that. If I press in and kind of rub back and forth like a normal massage, I'm just kind of getting some blood flow in and out of that, hopefully working out maybe a trigger point, some tight areas. I'm just trying to loosen up that fascia, okay? So what a wrap like this does is, by wrapping my ankle from my arch all the way up into my, just above my Achilles tendon where my calf muscle begins, I'm just getting a lot of compression at every angle. And now I can go through some ankle mobility exercises, and it's just compressing all those spots. I can also sit back and just do some ankle rotations, all right? I can stretch my calf out a little bit. Any movement I'm doing, all these tendons and tissues are all being compressed. So when I take this off then, so I'm basically pumping a lot of blood to the area, but because it's compressed, it's not allowing that blood to go there. Now I take this off, okay, so it's just a big strap like that, and now the blood just kind of goes back into that area, gorges the area pretty well, and then it helps just sort of mobilize some of those tendons that were feeling a little achy before. It feels much better. So what I'm doing is I'm in a half kneeling position, one knee down, one foot forward. I have it up on a step just so you can see it in the video. But what I want to do is just kind of check in with, how does my knee feel when it travels straight over my, let's say my second toe, which is about where we want it. And then how does it feel when my knee, crosses over my big toe and then my pinky toe. And I'm just kind of checking these different angles, these different corners, because every time when I'm playing basketball, I might drive straight to the basket, but then someone comes at me, I might jump off with my knee going this way, that way, and what's gonna help me from not bothering my knee is the mobility of my ankle, right? And this also tells me, if my knee can go over my toes like this, that I have good Achilles tendonitis, mobility and flexibility, and my calf muscles are allowing that. You wanna just work on this mobility. So I sprained this ankle about 2 months ago, and I'm just still feeling some of that scar tissue, some of that achiness. So I'm working on a little extra, but by doing this mobility, my foot is staying flat. I can just work on circles here, just waking up all of that. So every time I jump off of that, every time I plant, if I don't have the mobility in this ankle, when I plant, I want that knee to go all the way forward. If my ankle only allows this much, that force has to go somewhere, and oftentimes it goes into a shearing force in my knee. It goes into my patellar tendon, causing some tendonitis. May bother my ACL, different things, right? So I want a lot of mobility in my ankle joint. All right, so two things we're looking at is, how well do the joints move inside the ankle joint? My shin bone, my tibia, sits on top of my talus, little rectangular bone, and my ankle, and then that sits on my heel bone. So those are the primary three bones that all need to move well. That's what we call arthrokinematics. All right, so the kinematics, the motion of my arthro, so my joint area, my joint articulation of bones. Then my osteokinematics is more just how well does my ankle flex like that, and that's where our calf comes into play. So after wrapping it, little Buddha wrap, I'm doing some motion, just some general mobility. After I got that feeling pretty good, okay, then I'm going to go into more of a calf pull, and that's using the camera. All right, that's an orb. It's one of the most old school, just high density rolls, ORB, on Amazon. You know, you have a full foam roller, which is pretty decent, but I want something that's a little smaller that I can pinpoint parts of my calf with. So I'm gonna pull myself up, my butt's off the ground. I'm supporting myself on my right foot and my hands, and I'm gonna roll my inner calf right down the middle and just feel out and see where these knots are, see how crabby it is. All right, because if you feel a lot of tightness, if you've been wearing shoes with any kind of heel, if you've been sitting all day long at your desk and your calves are just tightening up because you haven't done a lot of ankle mobility, if you haven't done much but walk in the last week and now you want to go play ball, you want to loosen up your calves. If you have knots in your calves, it's going to tug, you're not going to necessarily, you're either going to bother that knot and get a bigger knot, or it's going to tug at the Achilles tendon. It's going to tug more at the tendon, and that's what you want to avoid, all right? So I play ball, gosh, now that I'm in my 40s, I've seen probably 4 or 5 guys blow out their Achilles tendon, and it's usually in the first 10 minutes of play. They start to get warmed up, right? So they get generally warmed up, body temperature goes up, tissue temperature goes up a little bit, but those calves just have not decelerated, they haven't changed direction, they haven't run backwards, right? And so all these things come into play, and 10 minutes in, there's just a little reaction to a pass, a reaction to a rebound, or maybe a defensive stop on the basketball court, and then Achilles tendon just pops, all right? So this is why I like to roll, because then I can kind of dictate whether I want to work right down the middle of the calf, I can go down further into that lower calf muscle, that soleus, but I can turn my foot in and kind of hit wherever I might be feeling the most there, and that just helps relax those muscles. So that first wrap around my ankle works on my ankle joint, but remember your calf muscle runs all the way down. It goes under, behind, like kind of wraps around your heel to your arch. All right, so I have a tennis ball here too, so if I wanted to hit a little extra, after I roll out my calf, knowing that that turns into my Achilles tendon, wraps around my heel, it turns into my arch, I can crush a tennis ball with my arch. And I might do this in this kneeling position. I can do my same ankle mobility here. I might stand up and just kind of crush it a few different ways. Right on my arch, right on my heel, right? And just kind of hit this. I might hit the ball with my foot. If you have any pain between your toes, like Morton's toe, or any kind of neuroma, which is that pain you get at the end of your, like the ball of your foot, your second, third, or fourth toe, typically your second or third toe. That's another good one, just to help splay your toe over that ball, all right? So wrap it, do some ankle mobility here, and even if you're standing at your desk during a break, you can just bring your knee over your middle toe, bring your knee over your pinky toe, over your big toe, and then just do some big circles, and just wake that up, a little WD-40 for your knee joint. Now, if I have a few minutes before I leave, and I know I'm in a studio, I have my turf and that, but if I'm at home, I got my backyard, I got some grass, I got a hallway, then I might go through a little bit of agility, right? And I might think about, how do I feel? Kind of cutting one way, cutting back the other way. How does my back pedal feel? If I run forward and stop, and then come forward on my left foot, go forward, stop on my right foot, just to kind of test that out and see how do those motions feel, because that deceleration, planting and stopping, is what I need to do to jump. And that's typically where you will hear, if you haven't done it yourself, somebody just demonstrating a layup at 4th grade basketball practice for your kids, and an ACL goes or Achilles tendon goes. All right, so let's avoid these things. A couple Weekend Warrior RX tips, and I'll see you next time.